My name is John McMorris.
My name is Elisa.
My name is McMorris.
And my 12-year-old son, Andrew.
And my 12-year-old son, Andrew.
And my little brother, Andrew McMorris.
Was killed by a drunk driver.
Right in front of me.
While hiking with his Boy Scout troop.
Andrew was an extremely kind soul. Absolutely full of life and joy. Whenever he'd walk into a room, he just would light up the room. His good spiritedness was contagious. And he always made people feel good about themselves. And for such a young soul to be able to do something like that was utterly amazing.
Andrew was this spirited, inquisitive Renaissance man. It's the word we use for him. From a very young age, he was very interested in everything, from planes to how things worked, to art, to singing, to dancing, and playing instruments.
Andrew was full of joy. Anything he did, he had a positive outlook on. And even when he didn't succeed or didn't do it to his fullest potential, he was still proud of what he did. And that's something I always envied of him. Being a big sister and having a real life baby doll was probably my 5-year-old dreams.
And would list out every single plane noise that he knew. And I'd be like, Andrew, yeah, I know that plane, yep, All the different plane names and sounds.
There's some people that are like irreplaceable, and he's definitely one of those people. So cool, he didn't care about what anyone else thought. He was so like unique and original, but like in the best way.
Andrew definitely was a leader. When he came into an activity, he wanted to do it 110%.
Ariana was a Girl Scout and I became a Girl Scout leader. And Andrew used to come to all the Girl Scout events, believe it or not. When the time came for him to go into Scouts, he was more than ready to join into Boy Scouts.
Andrew joined Boy Scout Troop 161. The troop is extremely active, really into high adventure.
I couldn't have been happier that John decided to be an assistant scoutmaster with him so that the father and son could have this special and unique bond that I had with Ariana in Girl Scouts.
There's a certain amount of hiking that we do each year. Obviously, we can also apply that towards the boys earning a hiking merit badge. That day on September 30th, 2018, my wife, myself, and Andrew, we met up with the Boy Scout troop at the halfway mark because Andrew and I were going to do the last 10 miles with the Boy Scout troop. I remember getting ready at the Pine Barren Center there and making sure that Andrew had a first aid kit because you have to, as Boy Scouts, our motto is be prepared. So Andrew had his bug spray, he had his sunblock, he had his snacks, he had his water bottles, he had his first aid kit. This boy was ready to go for a 10-mile hike, and he was excited about it. He was ready for it. The trailhead was only about a mile down the road or so, and the most direct way to go there was just to go alongside the road just for a mile along a residential road. And when the boys do hike on the road, they mark in a single line formation, and they stay all the way over to the side of the road. We walk on the left side of the road so we can see the traffic. And so the drivers can see us and we can see the drivers. We're almost at the trailhead, about like 900 feet or so. And I heard these thumps. And the thumps didn't sound right. And as soon as I heard that, I sprinted and ran as fast as I could. And as I passed the car, I see a child on the side of the road, on the ground. And I see above him kind of a pig pile of boys, all crying and screaming. And I ran like hell. And I see a boy, and I didn't know if it was Andrew or not. I was scared to bits. That was going to be Andrew or any one of the other boys, and I see him on the ground. His legs were broken. They were going in directions they're not supposed to go in. And there was blood gushing out of his head. He wasn't moving.
It was awful when you realize that, legs are twisted the wrong way. For the body positions laying down, you see kneecaps facing up. Heads are cocked the wrong way to the side. That's not normal. You know, in Andrew's case, and you know, wheezing and fighting for breath as blood's coming out of your nose and mouth.
Shock filled my whole body, and then I just thought I have to call 911. So I picked up the phone and I dialed it.
A man gets out of a car, which obviously we realized this man had hit these boys, which we couldn't figure out how because the boys were on the grass along the side of the road. They weren't even near the road. And this man gets out of this car, and it was quite evident and obvious that he was drunk, really drunk. And he plowed into 5 Boy Scouts that day.
My husband brought the phone down to him so I could talk to him. And I heard him like doing some low moans. And I said, "Oh, baby, mommy's coming. I'm coming."
I get to the hospital, and my wife's not there quite yet. She's on her way with Ariana. And the doctor comes to me and says, I'm sorry, but Andrew coded on the way here. And we don't think he's going to make it. And I said, "No, you got to go back in there, and you got to do whatever it takes to make him come back."
It was probably the hardest thing to see that beeping go slower and slower and slower until it just stopped.
I held his hand, and as the night went on, it just got colder and colder. But we talked to him, and we sang to him. We played Somewhere Over the Rainbow. That was a song he played on the ukulele.
The doctor pronounced him dead at 4:07 a.m. And then I put the toe tag on, crossed his arms, and I started zipping up the back. And then I took his face and I gave him one more kiss. John was next to me the whole time. We did it together. From the first step that I walked into a courtroom, there was a victim there who said, "You can call MAD." MAD was my lifeline. I wanted my son to recognize me from heaven. And so I started working with them, sitting in on a call, researching this legacy. John and I talk about parenting Andrew's legacy. And we make that by doing grief to action.
It's so preventable, and that's what's the maddening thing about it, that it wasn't an accident. And that's one important thing to talk about in drunk driving, is that these are not accidents. Accidents are like spilling the milk. This was a crash because it was preventable. It didn't have to happen. That man had a choice not to drive drunk.
I didn't make the choice to lose my brother.
When I found out that this technology exists right now, it's hard not to be angry. Andrew would be alive. That is hard. The defendant drove a brand new Mercedes. If the technology was in his car and turned on, Andrew would be alive. Those boys would not have been traumatized.
It doesn't seem like this is really a thing to debate or to really question, because if we have technology that can literally stop drunk driving in its tracks, what is there to debate about?
The loss of a child has no name. You are forever broken. The thing about it is, we can make change right now. We can do something in the vehicles right now. But do you really want this to happen to you before we make a change, or do you want us to make a change before it happens to you?
One thing that's really hard for me is the bond I had with Andrew was like nothing else. A father and a son. I miss my father and son time so much.
I miss you, Andrew.
I miss you so much, buddy.
Andrew, I miss you.
Andrew, we miss you.
Andrew, I miss you so, so much.
Andrew, I miss you.
Andrew, I love you and I miss you.
Bye.